It's time for another segment of Mr. and Mrs. Medicare, saving seniors from a high cost of healthcare, debunking Medicare, making Medicare easy to understand for all seniors. All guests of any of the Medicare segments receive a free ebook written by your MedicareLady.com. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sarah Finkelstein.
Hi there, this is Paul Finkelstein. I am Mr. Medicare. You can find me at realmedicareman.com. And my wife, she is Mrs. Medicare. You can find her at realmedicarelady.com or yourmedicarelady.com. That's or yourmedicarelady.com or realmedicarelady.com. And I'm realmedicareman.com. You could always find and stand by for Mrs. Medicare. She'd help you with any Medicare question. You can call her at 561 302 5760. That's 561 302 5760. I'm Paul Finkelstein. I'm here to help you with everything Medicare. Hashtag everything you were afraid to ask about Medicare. You're in the right place at the right time. Sit back, take some notes. And just for listening, here's a bonus. Everybody who listens to this free Medicare lesson, only 5 minutes and a couple of most frequently asked questions, as well as real people, real kindness, and real testimonials at the end of this free lesson about Medicare. It's only about 5 minutes because how to eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? So you could download the book. You see at the bottom at easybuttonformedicare.com. That's easybuttonformedicare.com. Just download the PDF. Hope you got that, just or the phone number as well. So chapter 13 is what are excess charges? This chapter or this free lesson is all about what are excess charges. And the book I'm taking it out of is straight to the point. Finally, an easy Medicare education for boomers and seniors. The conclusive, clear, complete guide. Nick, no mistake about it. Roadmap to Medicare is now here. Brought to you by yourmedicarelady.com, Sarah Finkelstein. Let's get going. So what are excess charges? Doctors who accept original Medicare are allowed to add on additional 15% on top of what Medicare approves. Did you know that? This is called excess charges. Most doctors do not do this, but in some states, it's not allowed. But however, it's important enough to be aware that this can happen. You could ask your doctor if he or she accepts assignment, meaning that they don't add on excess charges. Not all Medigap policies cover excess charges, and those that do are plans F and G. F is a grandfathered-in clause, depending on when you were born and turned 65. And Plan G is the comprehensive supplement plan. Only available now for those that are grandfathered in, of course. What I'm saying, there's an asterisk in the book that Sarah mentioned. And is anything covered when out of the country is a very interesting question. Foreign travel is not covered by Medicare, but your Medigap policy will cover the following. Emergency care services that is medically necessary, which begins during the first 60 days of each trip outside the United States. You will need to pay for those services and bring back your receipts. So keep those receipts. Your policy will pay 80% of a lifetime maximum benefit of $50,000 after you meet a $250 deductible per calendar year. Plans that cover foreign travel emergency are plans D, G, M, N, and F. Only available now for those that are grandfathered in, of course, is Plan F. Most people prefer to go with Medigap policy if they can afford to do so. My recommendation is to get what you could best afford, just like with all insurance, whether it's life insurance, long-term care, Medicare, or cancer plans, etc. I recommend you get what fits in your budget comfortably. We're at the 4 to 5 minute mark. So now we're going to go over some frequently asked questions about Medicare. What are the most commonly asked questions about Medicare? Interestingly enough, if you have this book, which you can get over at Amazon, just search, instead of a product, just put in Sarah's name, Mrs. Medicare, at Sarah Finkelstein. Type in Sarah Finkelstein on Amazon search, and you will see her book that I just mentioned at the beginning of this free lesson. Here's the most commonly asked question, the most commonly asked question I think I've heard in every single seminar that we have done. What if I am still working beyond age 65? Do I need to go on Medicare? So if you're still working beyond 65, do you need to go on Medicare? That depends on the size of your employer. If that employer has less than 20 employees, typically yes. If your employer has more than 20 employees, then you could stay on your group health coverage plan. I haven't worked a minimum of 10 years. Can I still qualify for Medicare? So you haven't worked 10 years in the United States. You qualify for Medicare through your spouse if your spouse has worked 10 years or more. There are lots of questions, but you could find them inside that very short book. I do want to go over some real people, real kindness, and real testimonials. And I'm queuing up two right here. The back of the book on page 45, you'll want to know that Robert Vogel said this about my wife, Sarah Finkelstein, our Mrs. Medicare, or realmedicarelady.com. I quote, I would love to take the opportunity to thank you for all the help in directing me with my Medicare options. I met you prior to my 65th birthday, and in time, you gave me, along with breaking down the different coverages that filled my needs, was and still is greatly appreciated. Plus, I really enjoyed the continued communication with phone calls and newsletters. Thanks again, Robert Vogel. Thank you, Robert Vogel, for saying some real kindness, some real testimonial. You're a real person. No AI here. And then Pamela Little says, I quote, moving into Social Security was a very scary experience for me. I was getting all sorts of phone calls and mails and emails and not knowing what to pick or what to do. I was devastated. How do these people actually get your name and number in the first place? Well, public information. When you turn 65, 11,000 people are turning 65 every single day. That's 4 million a year. I happened to run across Sarah Finkelstein, who came to my home, actually took time with me and explained the different options that I had. After that, she left and came back a week later or so, and she showed me what the best plan is for me and my particular situation, financially and emotionally. It's the best plan which I could ever imagine. I actually cried. It only takes a phone call, and she will do all the legwork for you in your best interest. So thank you, Pamela Little, for sharing a little bit of your personal story and tears of joy. I'm Paul Finkelstein. I'm Mr. Medicare, or realmedicareman.com. Thanks for sitting with me. I give Tony the last word. And Tony Raimondo, if you're looking for a voiceover artist, the best voiceover artist on planet Earth, check out Tony Raimondo. I found him on Alignable. You can go directly to his website at trcvoiceovers.com. That's trcvoiceovers.com. Just check him out. You heard him in the beginning. If you just queued in now, here he is again.
It's time for another segment of Mr. and Mrs. Medicare, saving seniors from a high cost of healthcare, debunking Medicare, making Medicare easy to understand for all seniors. All guests of any of the Medicare segments receive the free ebook written by your MedicareLady.com. Here are your hosts, Paul and Sarah Finkelstein.
You're still here? Well, I do thank you for listening to What Are Excess Charges. Stay tuned for tomorrow for the next free Medicare lesson. How to eat an elephant? One bite at a time, so we don't want to overwhelm you. When you get 65 and you turn 65th for your birthday, the last thing you're thinking about is Medicare, right? Ciao for now. Have a fantastic weekend.